already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live.
Right now.
Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope soul, sporting with the talk. First lady from New York,
Brooklyn.
All my people, you rocking with the chat.
Hit that.
The like button would tell me where you at. You know, Step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
What?
Don't talk.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knicks family. Welcome to the morning recap show. The Knicks have won 8 in a row. I'm super excited about this team. All right. Anyway, super excited about this team. They're showing up every game. They're not taking any team for granted. And you could say they won. Curry didn't play, but this same team without Curry beat Toronto, albeit who's struggling, and put up 126 points. We got the players on the bench starring in their roles in support of the top 3 players. And those players on any given night, one of them shines a bit brighter than the other. But at the end of the day, they're all showing up. So I just want to shout out the chat before I get into it. Shout out to Sherwin updating us on how he feels about the Knicks, about Randall's defense. I hear you. I disagree, but I hear you. Jeff Clafter, appreciate you. JJ, Tim Smith, Deron, Wayne, Shy Legacy, Wayne Peterson, JM 300, 3000. Not sure if I got that right, but I appreciate you guys. So let's get into it. Just to set up, the Knicks came into this game 17-13, 6th in the Eastern Conference. Golden State came into this game 15-16, one game under 500, 11th in the Western Conference. Struggling a bit on the road, which did bode well for the Knicks. The Knicks are coming into the game with 13th in offensive rating, 9th in defensive rating. Golden State coming into the game was 11th in offensive rating and 19th in defensive rating. The usual starters for the Knicks: Brunson, Grimes, Barrett, Randall, Robinson, Obi Toppin, still out. And for Golden State, they started Jordan Poole, who I think put up 46 points, if I'm not mistaken, on Toronto. Klay Thompson, Moses Moody, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney, and of course, Stephen Curry was out. Let's talk about the individual stats before I check in with the chat. Quickly returned, or at least his shooting returned. 22 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 5 3-pointers, shot 50% from the field. For the most part, took his shots within the flow of the game. And a few of those shots actually extended the lead for the Knicks. So I really like the way he played offensively. Obviously, defensively, he's been pretty consistent for us, both on and off the ball. So kudos for him. With Quickly, it's getting to the point. The sample size is large enough for us to begin asking, is he a streak shooter or is he a bona fide shooter? And at this point, it looks to be like he's more of a streak shooter. There's games where he gets hot and he shoots well, like last night. But for the most part, his shooting is up and down. It's still young in his career. I'm not going to say this is what he's going to be for the rest of his career, but right now seems to be a bit streaky early in his career. I don't know if part of it is shot selection. I'm not sure if it's just he's just streaky. I'm not sure. But last night he was huge for us. Brunson doing Brunson things: 21 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Wasn't his most efficient game, 43.8%. But there was a time in the game when, basically he called his number a few times. So I'm wondering what the chat thinks about that. We have 3 players: RJ, Randall, Brunson, who can, all three of them can isolate. I think of the three, Barrett, you probably, I don't like to really see him, isolate that much, but they can do it. Brunson, there are times when he calls his number, and at that point, I believe it was the second quarter. Correct me if I'm wrong, where possession after possession, he was basically isolating, minimal passing, right? So he does that at times, and yeah, I don't know. Sometimes that impacts the flow of the ball. Obviously, less ball movement, less player movement. But at the same time, it happens across the NBA. When you have a good player, they dial up their number, and they isolate. And for him, at least, when he does do that, he pretty much scores. Like, he's not somebody that's going to isolate, clanking, missing, and still isolating. Usually he calls his number when he feels like we need it, and he basically comes through for us, and then it stops, and then it goes back to passing the ball around. So let me know what you guys think about Brunson when he goes into those periods in which he isolates. And another thing about it is, if he can do that consistently, when you think about some of the better teams in the league, they have somebody that you can go to when you need a basket. Whether you're trying to maintain a lead, whether you're trying to cut into a lead, whether you're trying to close out a game, you have somebody that you can go to. And it's looking like Brunson is that guy for us. So it happens all over the league. I'm not complaining. I just noticed that, when he's in his bag, the rest of the team is pretty much standing around. But anyway, that's Brunson. Grimes has played well last night. Well, Grimes plays well, in my opinion, every night, because there are things that he does that just does not show up in the box score. But last night, he had the counting stats as well. 19 points, 4 assists, 4 3-pointer shot, 55.6% from the field. And I was really nervous when he went down. And I was saying, wow, all of this is about to come crashing down. And it's funny because he's not one of the top 3 players on this team, but that's how important he is, that when he twisted his ankle, I thought he would be out for an extended period of time, and my mind just started, racing like, wow, this thing is going to stop right now. And I think that just shows to me just how important he is to our team, even though he's not, again, one of the top 3 players on the team. His role on our team is huge. Being able to defend the best perimeter offensive players on the other team, that's huge for us. Being able to not really command the ball. He doesn't need the ball in his hand to be effective. That's huge for us when you got a Brunson and a Randall and an RJ who really dominates the ball and need to be effective. To have somebody that can be effective, put up 19 points, shoot 55.6% from the field, but he didn't have to dominate the ball to do that, right? When his shooting becomes more consistent, he's going to become even more valuable to the team. So really feeling Grimes and what he's doing for us right now. Barrett, 18 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. It was a tale of 2 halves for RJ Barrett, right? He was 1 of 6 in the first half. Then he came out in the second half and hit his first 5 basket and really helped us, extend the lead. He was finishing at the rim. I thought RJ Barrett played very well particularly in the third quarter for us. Randall, 15 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists, played within the flow of the game. Still a demon on the boards, in my opinion. Still playing okay defense, or at least better defense than in the first part, of the season. I know we start talking about Randall and defense. That's a bit triggering for Sherwin, but his defense has been better. Last night it was, it was okay. Actually, for Golden State, Poole, 26 points, 2 rebounds, 2 threes, shot just 44.4% from the field. When you get a player that's hot, you get a player that's good, you get a player that can get to their spots, you're not going to shut them down. I don't know if Poole is in that category yet, but of late he has been. With Steph Curry out, he's been really stepping up. And I thought we did a good job on him. He shot 44.4% 34%, 26 points, and we did an even better job on the rest of the players on the team. So kudos to the Knicks for that, and particularly Grimes. Kuminga, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Klay Thompson, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Only shot 42% from the field. Moody, the second-year player, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 threes. Um, the Knicks made quick work of Golden State. That game was over somewhere in the third quarter. In the fourth quarter, pretty much was garbage time. The Knicks shot 51.7% from the field. They shot 42.5% from the three-point line. Listen, and I said this earlier, it's going to be hard for the Knicks to be a good team if they're not defending and they're not shooting a three-pointer well. How are you getting back in games? And over this stretch, they've been defending much better, and they've been hitting the three-point shot much better. And that bodes well for us in terms of, going forward, because I'm sure the question is, are the Knicks for real? And I believe they are. Golden State still shot 47% from the field, 34.3% from the three-point line. I want to get into some other players, but let me just check in with the chat right now. JJ, appreciate you. Hope all is well with you and yours. Nick bashing from Shaq and Barkley was annoying. Plus, having to hear Miller call the game, hoping we're not on TNT again. Yeah, I don't like it either. I mean, I think, listen, the Knicks have been a joke for a very long time, and it's going to take a while to turn that narrative. And when you're on, these national telecasts, number one, they're not really up on the Knicks because they're not following the Knicks, or any of those teams, game in and game out, unless it's one of their favorite teams like Barkley and Phoenix. And so it's the old storylines and very, not quick to give the Knicks any credit. And I think it's going to be like that for a while until the Knicks start winning. That's how it was with Golden State. They were a laughing stock as well until they started winning. Appreciate you, D. Hope all is well. 9 in a row tonight. I'm with you, brother. I am with you. Wayne Peterson, appreciate you. RJ is finishing better and doing well with angles at the rim, and no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I just needed to be consistent, right? Because he'll have games like this where he's finishing at the rim, or halves where he's finishing at the rim, and then the next game is something, it is something different. But I'm not complaining about RJ Barrett of late. Our communities, our children, appreciate you. Knicks fans are hilarious. All of the first 9 are valuable and have contributed to this winning streak. Stop tearing down players every chance you get. I'm not really seeing that in terms of Knicks fans tearing down the players. Maybe I'm missing it, but I agree with you. To your point, everybody is playing their role very well. Obviously you got, you got the bench players who are playing extremely well, and we need that. But if you have that without the top 3 players or your top players not playing well, how far is it going to get you? But also vice versa. You can have your top 3 or top players playing well, but you don't have a lot of bench support. How far is that going to get you? So you need all of it. And right now, that's what we have. Our top 3 is playing relatively well, some shining brighter than others in particular games, but the bench is coming through for us. And we don't have a lot of firepower on the bench. Think about it quickly, and he's been struggling before last night. Sims, you're not going to get a lot of offense out of him. Hartenstein is playing a little different. I don't think the Knicks are playing him to his strength, but it is what it is. We're winning. And then you have, who else is in that starting lineup? Sims, Ihart, quickly, and I am missing one. But whoever it is, he's not an offensive player as well. But McBride. But what they give us on the defensive end really makes an impact, and there's timely shooting. McBride has been shooting the three-point shot much better, as of late. So I agree with you. Our communities, our children, in the sense that all 9 are valuable and have contributed to winning, and we need all 9 of them. Jeff Clafter, appreciate you. RJ seems to be filling the role of third option well. You know what? I don't even know if for the Knicks, it's first, second, third, because if you look at the shots, I think all of them are getting around the same number of shots on the season. It may vary during particular games, but for the most part, they're averaging about 18 shots a game, I want to say. Things may have changed over the past game or two. So they're getting equal number of shots. Who's gonna be the leading scorer is gonna be that player who's shooting the best that night. You know, but when you think about how they've been playing, yeah, you can definitely say that Brunson and Randall has been playing better than RJ overall. But I think RJ has closed the gap, in these last, you know, um, few games. See, Cartagena, Grimes intangibles are needed. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Somebody agreeing with me on Grimes. Thank you. Deron Wayne. I hope I'm saying that right. Or Darren Wayne. Um, Grimes had some struggles defensively with Poole, I thought. Not going to shut people totally down. Poole is a real good scorer. I love Grimes, though. Yeah, no doubt. I saw that. I saw that as well. Getting screened off. It's going to happen when you have these high octane. I don't even know if I want to call Poole high octane, but just in general, because he's going to be playing the best perimeter offensive player on the other team. He's you're not gonna shut him down. It's just not going to happen. Jarrell, I appreciate you, resident panelist on Dope Soul Sports Talk, and he has his own channel, Die Hard Knicks Live. So be sure to check him out whenever the Giants play, which is Saturday, right? Not Sunday. The Knicks are playing Saturday. All right. Let's see. Do I want to say anything else? I think I'm gonna get into the bench in another segment. Let's talk about the team stats, and I'll check in with the chat again. I just felt like the Knicks, they just beat Golden State pretty much in every category, outplayed Golden State in every category. And again, I can't emphasize enough that they're not resting on their laurels. They're not taking teams for granted. It's just a business approach. Who's up next? And just really being mentally tough. And I think Brunson has a lot to do with that. The steadiness that he brings to our team in terms of his game, number one, and his approach. And I really think that is rubbing off. And what it also does is it allows Randall and RJ to move down in the pecking order. Like, just move down just a little bit. Think about where we would be if Randall had to close all of these games. Kudos for what he did in Indiana. I'm not taking anything away from him. And I'm sorry that I was on the road and I wasn't able to do the morning recap, but I just thought it was important for me to get back to New York where at least my internet was a little stable. But Randall was clutch in that game. The 6 free throws, switching out on Halliburton in crunch time twice and holding his own, But it's good to have Brunson there where he doesn't have to do that every night. We're not counting on him to do that every night. And Brunson was clutch in his own right. So not underestimating what Brunson or Randall doing for us down the stretch. But I digress. Second chance points, the Knicks are still, points in the paint, the Knicks are still, for the most part, outscoring other teams, the opponent in the paint. Last night it was 50-38. Second chance points, Golden State only had 6. Now, I don't know where Golden State ranks in terms of second chance points and if last night was any different. But I know that the Knicks have not been great in terms of keeping the opposing team from getting offensive rebounds and converting them. But over this stretch, they have been stellar. Teams are not getting second chance points on the Knicks, right? And that's part of what's helped us become a better team. They had 6 second chance points. The Knicks had 16. So you could see if you go through, different stats and you kind of track them over time, the areas in which the Knicks are getting better. Let me see if there's anything else I want to say about the team stats. They continue to hit the 3-pointer at a decent clip. You're gonna need to do that. You want to be successful in this league, the way they're playing right now, you got to be able to hit the three at a decent clip. And the Knicks have been doing that. I'm checking with the chat again before I go to just the game observation. D Roller Hoops, appreciate you again. 27 assists to 11 turnovers is a thing of beauty. Now let's keep that consistent. I mean, that's the whole thing with the Knicks. But I think they will be. I think that who we're seeing over the team that we're seeing over the past 8 games, and actually you can even go back to 14 games ago when we changed the starting lineup. This is the team that we're going to be for the rest of the season. Now, are we going to win every game for the rest of the season? We are not. But in terms of being a really good offensive and defensive team for the rest of the season, I really believe so. Shout out to Stafford Don, another resident panelist with Dope Soul Sports Talk. Blessed morning. Appreciate you. Hope all is well. Jeff Clafter, Steph, how do you feel about Mitchell Robinson now? I know you had reservations about the bat we gave him. And I'm not talking about Mitch enough. You're absolutely right. Mitch is doing, what everybody else is doing, which is starring in his role. Mitch is starring in his role. I mean, a lot of what he does doesn't show up on the box score. I think he's rebounding better. I would have to track his defensive rebounds. So I don't know if it could be a combination of him and Randall, but the other team, our opponent, is getting less second chance opportunities. And that means the defensive rebounding is getting much better. I mean, we were already, and that's how it could be misleading. We were already a top 5 team in defensive rebounding, but at the same time, giving up a lot of second chance points. And that has been better. And I believe Mitchell Robinson has a lot to do with it. He's been okay. I can't, I'm not gushing over Mitchell Robinson the way I'm gushing over Grimes or Brunson, but he's been okay. Our communities, our children. I said he's okay. Mitch is a monster. I hear you. See, Cartagena, they would have to win gritty on defense and hustle as long as they don't play cute on the offensive end. Appreciate you, Namret 12. Appreciate you. Wow. I don't want to get sidetracked too much. I would not trade for DeRozan, and I really like him unless you're going to give up one of our top 3 players. I just feel that at this point, and I believe we talked about this on Queen's Court, we have so many players who need the ball in their hand to be effective. Do we want to add another one? I just think that if you're not gonna send out a Brunson, a Randall, or a RJ in a trade for DeRozan, now you got 4 players who need the ball in their hand. I just think at this point, we need some more 3-and-D players, right? We need players we need more Grimes, like players that don't command the ball but can hit the 3, help space the offense for us, a bit more, and can defend their position. So in my opinion, that's what I would be going for. Now, Levine, if you're trading, one of them for Levine, yeah, the only issue, this is just me. If the Knicks are going to trade for a star, I would like them to trade for a proven star. So somebody, a young proven star, and they don't come around that often, but someone who's been in the league, for, 5-6 years, have been on winning teams, have been in the playoffs. I know I'm asking for a lot. And you kind of know that they've performed in the playoffs, it's going to be hard to get. Now that's a hard ask, but that's what I'm looking for. El Servi or Servi, How do we upgrade our bench without compromising our championship level defense? You upgrade the bench by bringing in other bench players, if the Knicks choose to go in that direction, who are two-way players. Where you're getting that same level of defense, but they are also offering you something on the offensive end. And the Knicks are, when you talk about not just those in our rotation, but the entire team, you got some players that are good offensively, but not good defensively. You got other players that are very good defensively, but not good offensively. I think the Knicks, if they are going to make any changes, need to seek out players that are both that can offer you something on both the offensive and the defensive end. That's what we need. Shout out to Ron for still Nick fans. Appreciate you. Hope all is well with you and your family. What's good, Nick family? Salute to the chat. Salute to the Queen staff. Let's go, Knicks. I couldn't watch the game because I don't have TNT, but I feel like they were impressive. They were, Ron. They were. The game was over somewhere in the third um, corner. Quarter. Actually. James Glass, the play on the Bills that I think makes the most sense is Caruso. Would probably move Miles to situational, but he's proven he can make an impact on a championship roster. I like Caruso. I mean, I don't think we're a championship roster yet, but I think what the Knicks, if I had to guess, what the Knicks front office is doing is over the next few years, they're trying to shape the team into a championship contender. So piece by piece, step by step, unless a star becomes available, just keep adding pieces to the team that's going to make you better. Because as much as I'm enjoying the team right now, this is not a championship level team. And it's okay. That's totally fine for this season. But you got to keep, if you're a front office, you can't be satisfied with where the Knicks are right now, roster wise. You got to keep trying to upgrade it and upgrade it to eventually you become a championship contending roster. So I do hear you in terms of already thinking about over the next few years as we continue to shape this roster, who are the players that can play at that level and can help us at that level. And I do like Caruso. And I think, this brings up another point. This brings up another point. We have the players on this team that we like a lot, and then we have the overall team who we like. And as time goes on, some of our players that we like a lot, may not be here as the Knicks attempt to upgrade the roster. And I'm okay with that. As long as the Knicks are not bringing in grizzly veterans that, only got 1 or 2 years left to make to some sort of push, but just organically over time, making the team better and better, bringing in proven players that's going to help us. I'm all for it. Salute, Jay Singh. I like Terrence Ross, shooter that can play a little defense. He's 31 and likely doesn't mind minimum minutes behind RJ. Yeah, Terrence Ross is okay. He's okay. He's not going to cost a lot. I don't think he has a lot left on his contract. His shooting is a little streaky, similar to Oubre, who somebody mentioned on another show. But both can play. Defense as well. No Levine, we need two-way players. Listen, there's some players that have the potential to be two-way players. Think about Booker before Monty Williams got there. So if a player has the potential to be a two-way player and you go to a team that plays defense and holds you accountable, you're going to play defense. I think Levine has the tools to play defense. So that part of it, I'm not worried about. Levine's contract is nasty. No, thank you. JJ, we need a 6'8" consistent small forward. Yeah, that would be sweet. But at the same time, we got to get, players that can, that can play. All right. The Knicks never trailed in this game, and they led by as much as 38 points. Never trail. I mean, this is what I'm saying about the Knicks approach. I'm not worried that Curry is not here. I'm not, Poole dropped 46. We need to be on high alert. And they made quick work of it. So I'm really impressed with how the Knicks approached that game. But I want to talk about our role players um, starring in, well, their roles, So basically all of them, Grimes, IQ, McBride, Sims, they all play defense, right? That's a given. But after that, they give you a little something, in addition to that, something, very different. When you think about, obviously Grimes, he plays defense, but you're also going to get the 3-point shooting, very quick release. When that shot starts falling, the Knicks are going to be even better, right? You got McBride, who also, plays good defense, but lately he's been hitting the timely threes, at that, starring in his role. Sims, I think, how many minutes? Sims played 18 minutes last night. He had 8 points, 7 rebounds. You're going to get very good perimeter and pick and roll defense from Sims. He's also a lob threat, right? And so he stretches the floor vertically. I just love what Sims is doing. Now, when Obi comes back, hopefully the rotation goes back to 10. I'm okay with that. I'm not sure, how tenable 9 is for the entire season. So when Obi comes back, maybe we go to 10. But if I had to choose, if we don't go back to 10, in my opinion, I would want Obi to be situational. I just really like what Sims is doing. That the defense to be able to guard on the perimeter. Again, I didn't do the morning recap after the Indiana game, and I'm sure you guys talked about it. You saw his perimeter defense on Caruso. That's a guard. That's a guard. And he was able to keep him in front of him. I mean, his footwork is just on another level. Offensively challenged, and this is what I mean about the Knicks really needing two-way players, but he is a lob threat. I just really like Sims. Hartenstein only played 19 minutes, 2 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. He's very active on the offensive boards, giving us second chance opportunities. But we got a chance to see in the beginning of the season and in last night's game what he brings offensively in terms of his playmaking. And I just don't think the Knicks are using him to his strengths. And I mentioned that earlier. It's okay. This is where we are. We're winning. We're not changing anything right now. This is your role. It might be this small. This is what we need you to do. Do it. But we were able to see, especially on that second unit, where we just don't have a lot of offense going. We can kind of do some things with iHeart. But again, the Knicks aren't being fancy. Just go in and you have 10, 15, 20 minutes, play hard, do what you can, and come out. And that's what iHeart is doing. But there's definitely some potential there. And as I talked about, sure, Randall, RJ Brunson is playing well, but you need it from those support guys. You need it, and they are bringing it for us. I'm really, really happy about that. All right, before I check in with the chat, shout out to Knicks Film School and Knicks Film School newsletter, who highlighted the next few points I'm about to make. Are the Knicks for real? Are the Knicks for real? Are they a good team? Is this a fluke? Are they playing above their head? Is this sustainable? All of those questions that we all have. I'm not going to say I can't wait for the Knicks to lose a game. I don't want them to lose another game this season. I know that's impractical, but I really want to see how they respond when that does happen. But that being said, in 31 games, the Knicks have the 8th best net rating. That means the difference between their offense and defense. They have the 8th best net rating and the 10th best winning percentage in the league. Since we changed the lineup 14 games ago, now this was before the 9-game winning streak. I'm claiming a Toronto game. No, I'm kidding. Before the 8-game winning streak, we changed the lineup, right? Put Grimes in the lineup. So that's a 14-game sample size. Since that time, again, This is before the streak even started. We're fourth in offense, third in defense. Right? Now, this was a point that was brought up as well. Usually, the best teams in the playoffs, the championship contending teams, usually a top 10 in both offense and defense. I'm not saying the Knicks are a championship contending team right now. In my opinion, they aren't. They are not. But in terms of where they rank offensively and defensively, they're 11th in offensive rating and 7th in defensive rating. So almost top 10 in both offensive and defensive rating. So are they a championship contender? In my opinion, no. But are they a really good team? It seems like since we changed that starting lineup, they have been. They have been. Now, hold on, let me take care of this bot. Now, in our division right now, we're 1-2, right? We're going to play a division game tonight against Toronto. We have a division game Sunday, Christmas afternoon against Philadelphia. Then we got to play Boston, Brooklyn. There's going to be time enough for us to see whether or not the Knicks can function on that level. But right now, I do believe they're a very good team, and I do believe that they could finish in the top 6 easily, unless there's an injury or something goes wrong. Let me check in with the chat before I get to the Eastern Conference standings and tonight's game. Actually, Jeff Clafter, Sims, iHeart has been effective. They have. I like that combo. And I believe they've outscored, in the minutes they've played, they've outscored the opponent by 29 points. I read that somewhere, around 29. El Survey, Obi as small forward with Sims and Hart might be good. Obi can't defend the small forward position. And right now, when you think about, I think a line has been drawn in the sand as far as Tibbs is concerned. You got to be able to defend your position. Obviously, Randall and RJ wasn't, but what are you going to do with them? Kind of have to play them, and the defense has been stepping up a little bit, but there's no such luxury for any other player on the team, right? Obi, can he defend the way they're defending right now? And I don't, and talking about the small forward position, I don't think he can. DJ Cash right now, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. When it starts to bend, then see where we need to make adjustments. Totally agree. Pudge Nice, raining on our parade. Appreciate you, Pudge Nice. Might lose today. Ooh. I hope not. Raptors are tough. Listen, they are, but over the last 10 games, they've been struggling. We're gonna get into that. JJ, they're definitely better than I thought they would be, but I'm not sold on them doing damage in the playoffs, not totally jumping out of the window yet. Depends on the matchup, depends on how this team continues to evolve over time. You gotta be good enough to get to the playoffs first. And then the next step, you're absolutely right, is being able to win. Listen, the Knicks are not going to go from being out of the playoffs to championship contenders like that. Step by step, piece by piece. Keep adding to the team, keep doing, developing your culture, developing your identity. All right. In terms of making noise in the playoffs, I don't know what damage. What does that look like? Second round, Eastern Conference final? We're not there yet. But we're taking pretty good steps, in my opinion. Keith Turner, appreciate you. Still don't like Tibbs. I still say we need a better coach to take us to the next level. That part hasn't changed. We definitely shall see. Aj 8 is not enough. We want more. Yeah, no doubt. We definitely do. There was another point I wanted to make about the Knicks offensively. The Knicks have scored at least 100 points in each of their past 11 games, and they did it just 13 times in the first 24 games. And defensively, they've given up fewer than 100 points 5 times during this win streak. and they gave up at least 100 points in each of their first 23 games. And that's just the switch. That's just how abrupt it was after that Dallas game. It's like a switch. The switch went off and boom, the Knicks are now a good defensive team. All right. So the Eastern Conference, the Knicks are still sixth in the Eastern Conference, but they went from 1.5 games cushion above the next team to now a 2-game cushion. The next team right now is Atlanta. That switches sometimes, but there's a 2-game difference between the 6th and the 7th seed. And in that playing team, there's Atlanta, Miami, Indiana, Toronto. I don't think these teams are going away. So to JJ's point, I agree. Like, things can change. After the All-Star break, sometimes teams go on a run. After Christmas, teams go on a run. So the Knicks can't rest on their laurels for sure. And when you look at the teams above them, I don't see the Knicks being better than Milwaukee, Boston, Cleveland, Brooklyn, or Philly. But when you think about the teams behind them, Atlanta, Miami, Indiana, Toronto, Chicago, a healthy Washington team, all of them are bunched up in that same tier. However, if the Knicks continue to play defense the way they are, that can separate them from a few of those teams that don't play defense on that level. So let's get into Toronto, who right now is 13-18, 10th in the Eastern Conference. Their last 10 games, they're 2-8. They've lost 6 straight. So something has to give tonight, right? The Knicks are going to continue to win. One of these streaks is coming to an end, right? Or maybe not. But, the Knicks will continue to win, or Toronto will continue to lose. Let's see what happens tonight. But the Knicks are 8-2 winners of 8 straight, going in 2 different directions. And Toronto is 2-8 losers of their last 6. Now, Monday they played Philadelphia. They lost to Philadelphia, but it went to overtime. So this is not a team that's going to come in and lay down, right? We played them tonight. They're not going to come in and lay down. They're going to be ready to play. They still have good players on that team, right? They're starting Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes. Is that, I don't even know how to pronounce the Hernan Gomez? Juancho? Is that how you pronounce the name? Anyway, Pascal Siakam and the rookie Christian Koloko. But this changes. Sometimes they'll put Gary Trent in the lineup. Christian Koloko won't be in the lineup, and Pascal Siakam will play center. So I'm not sure what they're going to do, if they're going to hold with that lineup tonight. But as you can see, they have good players on the team. OG Anunoby, I don't know if he's injured. Again, I'm not sure, but he didn't start the last game. But again, they took Philly. That game went into overtime, right? So it's still going to be a tough game for the Knicks. They have to take it one game at a time. I talked about the Knicks' approach. I'm expecting the same thing tonight. Don't take this team for granted. They lost 6 games in a row. Okay. You won 8 games in a row. Okay. You know that things can turn on a dime in this league like it did, right? The Knicks were terrible against Dallas, lost a big lead, and boom, it turned right on the dime. Same thing can happen with Toronto, all right? But because Brunson is on this team, and I just feel like the team is more mentally tough, the Knicks will be ready tonight. The Knicks are now 11th in offensive rating, 7th in defensive rating. Toronto is 15th in offensive rating, 11th in defensive rating. We haven't played them to this season, but I could be wrong. There was a few teams I said we didn't play on the Queen's Court, and I was wrong. But I don't think we played Toronto. So we're 0-0, and we'll see what happens. And to Kerry Cox, I don't know if Kerry Cox is here. There was a report, I don't know how true it is, that somebody on the Knicks reached out to Toronto about OG Anunoby. All right. So he's been tooting that horn since preseason. Apparently somebody on the Knicks reached out. I don't know how that conversation went. Trick Jr. is questionable. All right. Bo Ishmael Porter Jr. is out too. 96 till OG Ananobi is back. So we get to see him firsthand, what Kerry Cox is talking about. I like him as well. I just don't think he's available. But what the article was saying is that they have a lot of players who are pretty much the same, a lot of duplication. So maybe it's possible. Van Vliet having a rough year. Those shooting numbers are ugly. Yes. Efran Lopez, appreciate you. OG is probable with hip, probably a hip issue. Dwayne Wilson, appreciate you. 9 in a row. Now let's just concentrate one game at a time. No doubt about it. Keith Turner, appreciate you. Toronto got everything you need to be a contender, length and height. They really need a consistent shoot. I mean, listen, to be a contender, you need that guy. It's the bottom line. You know, you need all of the other stuff. Yes, you do need length. You need to be able to play defense. You got to have a decent arm, but you need that guy. Things slow down in the playoffs, right? You need that guy where you can give the ball to and say, right now, we're clinging to this lead that we have. We need a bucket to help sustain it. Or we're down. We're trying to get back in. Who can we go to that's going to get us a bucket right now? Or we're trying to close out this game. Last 5 minutes, last 2 minutes. Who can we give the ball to? That's what every team needs if you're going to be a championship contender. I'm not sure who that guy is on Toronto. I'm not sure who that guy is on the Knicks, right? Do we need to bring that guy in, or is Brunson developing into that guy? We shall see. Agent Super Argo, appreciate you. It doesn't matter who the Knicks face anymore. Just come to play with the same effort every night and they'll be all right. Just imagine if Grimes wasn't injured in the beginning of the season. I mean, the take I have on this and a lot of things that happen even in life, sometimes all of what happened before is part of you being right where you are right now. There's no guarantee that if Grimes started the season that we wouldn't have struggled and we would have been a good team early on. I think everything that's happened to the Knicks up to this point is part of us having to go through it to get to this point. Bo Ishmael, Scotty Barnes is struggling more than Van Vliet. All right. You think they want to get up off of Scotty Barnes? He's struggling. I would be happy with that. Paris Duggar, Brunson is the new that guy in the NBA. You know what, Paris Duggar? I hope you're right. And happy holidays to you. I've been saying for 6 months now that Tibbs has been ridiculous and not playing McBride, Simmons, and Grimes along with quick. Paris Duggar, they all right. I mean, they playing well in their role. They're playing well in their role. The bottom line is if those guys play well and your top 3 are not playing well, you're not going to be a good team. If your top 3 are playing well and you don't have the support, you're not going to be a good team. So there's nothing to say that had those guys played earlier, like I said before, we would have been here sooner. But again, there's nothing to say that we wouldn't be. I appreciate what those guys are doing on our team. But again, I'm not going to say that they would have been the same players a year ago or the same players 6 months ago. But right now, they're playing well. I'll take it for sure. All right. What's next this afternoon? The NBA pregame show. I didn't even put the time because Sim has been, moving it around. Shout out to Simeon Russell, the creator of the NBK channel. Forever grateful to you. But this afternoon, there should be an NBA pregame show. If you haven't already, most of you guys are subscribed to the Nothing But Knicks channel. If you have the notifications on, it'll come out when Kerry Cox is in the building. Okay, I'll repeat that later. You'll get the time of when that show is. And then tomorrow, 9 o'clock, I'll be back for the recap show. Kerry Cox, I don't know if you heard that there's a report that somebody from the Knicks has reached out to Toronto about OG Anunoby. I don't know how the conversation went. They didn't say anything else about it, but that the Knicks have reached out. All right. Let me just go through the chat. I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button so you'll be notified anytime I go live. Once a week, sometimes twice, the Just Nicking It show. Jarrell, the Just Nicking It show. Thursdays, 9 p.m. Right? Kerry Cox, yes. All I Can Ask For. Jeff Clapter, thank you for another great show. Like and subscribe if you haven't. This place is dope. I appreciate you. Shout out to Jarrell, Ron. Okay, Ron, get with him. Let you know. Yeah, he'll hook you up with the show. Sherwin, appreciate you. Ron, C. Cartagena, Jeff Clafter, Keith Turner, Dwayne Wilson, Jarrell, Pudge Nice, Wayne Peterson, Kerry Cox. I might mention you twice. Trav B. Ryan. I might miss some. Bo Ishmael, Andrew. It's been a while. Appreciate you. Trav B. Ryan, Ephraim Lopez. I think I got everybody. James Glass, Parrish Duggar, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for dropping by. JJ, of course, Keith Turner, of course, Ajay, Movies and Stuff. I appreciate Anthony Grant. Wow. Tay 234. I know I'm missing some people, but in any event, I appreciate you all rocking with me in the morning. The Knicks play Toronto at night tonight, going for our 9th straight. Sounds good. Sounds good. I appreciate you. Until next time.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's her.
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at? Where you at?
Don't